going to talk about how to draw a finite element mesh in Visit. First, you need to open up the databases that contain your simulation data. Click on Open, then navigate to the path with your data. Then open the dumps database that contains the fluid information and the output.ext file that contains the mesh information. To draw the mesh, make sure that the output.ext is the active source. Then click Add. You have a couple of options here. If you want to see the nodes and elements of your mesh, click on Mesh, then Mesh. When it asks if you would like to create an index database correlation, go ahead and click Yes. Then click Draw, and you can see the elements of your mesh. In order to see the mesh move at each time step, the mesh needs to be displaced. To do this, first unclick Apply Operators to All Plots. Then make sure that the mesh is selected, and then click Operators, Transforms, and Displace. If you click on this triangle, you can open up the mesh and double-click on the Displace operator. Now you want to click on the displacement variable here and click Create New Expression. You want to make the type a vector mesh variable, make the name dx, and the definition curly bracket dx underscore 0, comma, dx underscore 1, comma, and dx underscore 2. If you are in 2D, instead of dx2, you will have a 0 in the third position. Click Apply and Dismiss, and then under the displacement variable, go to Vectors and click on dx. Then click Apply and Dismiss. Now if you click Draw, you'll see your mesh, and if you increase the time step, you'll see that the mesh moves. So now we're able to see the mesh at different time steps. This is great if you want to see the elements and nodes of your mesh. However, it's not the prettiest option if you're trying to make attractive figures for presentations or publications. A more attractive way to draw your mesh is to use a subset. So we can get rid of this mesh by clicking on it and clicking Delete. And now we can go to Add, Subset, and Mesh. If you click Draw, you'll now see that the mesh is a solid rather than that mesh with all of the nodes and elements. In order to edit the subset, you can just double-click on Subset, and you can change the characteristics of the mesh. You can change the color, so we can make it black, but that makes it kind of hard to see the 3D dimensions depending on the situation. So it's kind of nice to pick an actual color, or I sometimes like to go with gray, so it doesn't detract from the visualization of the fluid around it. You can change the opacity if you want to be able to see through it. And if you don't want to see the Legend over here where it says whole mesh, you can just click on legend and click apply, and that will go away. So then if you click dismiss, you now have a nice, attractive 3D mesh. Just like with the other mesh, we need to add a operator, transform displace, and we need to make it that dx variable that we created before in order to see the wing in different positions. So now it moves. And that's the basics of drawing a mesh in 3D in Visit.